I need to tell you something uncomfortable. That person you follow, the one whose advice feels like it was made just for you, the one whose content you never miss, they may be using one of these three specific manipulation tactics that keep you coming back, spending money, or defending them when they do something or say something problematic. I've looked at the content of some of these creators and the patterns are identical, whether it's a rise and grind hustle guy selling a course, a wellness queen selling you some supplements, or a political influencer that's selling you a worldview. The purpose of this video is to help you spot these manipulation tactics quickly, and more importantly, to help you understand why they can work so well, even on smart, skeptical people like you and me. So let's talk about what these influencers are doing and how they're doing it. Tactic number 1, the illusion of authority. The first manipulation tactic is what I call the illusion of authority, and it's the foundation that makes everything else work. Here's the thing. Most influencers or gurus aren't actually experts in what they're teaching you, but they're experts at making you believe that they are. They do this in very specific ways. First, they borrow credibility from legitimate sources. They'll quote a study, but not tell you that the study has been debunked. They may not even be aware of that, and if they are aware, they know most of you won't read the entire study for yourselves, so you'll never know. They'll reference Harvard research, but not mention that the research doesn't actually support their conclusion. They'll throw around scientific sounding language, neuroplasticity, quantum mechanics, epigenetics, evolutionary psychology, in ways that sound impressive but are actually meaningless. Wellness gurus do this quite often. They'll sometimes wear a white coat in their videos, or they'll have a bookshelf full of medical texts behind them, and they'll use medical terms like cellular health and mitochondrial function while selling you expensive supplements that don't really do anything for you. The aesthetic of expertise becomes a substitute for actual expertise. Hustle guys do this with wealth signaling, the luxury car, the private jet, the collection of expensive designer watches. They're not showing you evidence of their business acumen. They're showing you symbols that trigger your association between wealth and wisdom. Most people assume that someone with a Lamborghini must know something about making money, even if they only made that money by selling online courses about making money. Influencers that are what I call political prophets do this by positioning themselves as public intellectuals. They may have an advanced degree, but it will be in an entirely unrelated field. They'll have published books, but not peer-reviewed research. And of course, they'll debate people, but only opponents that they know they can dominate. The performance of intellectualism becomes the proof of intellectualism. Here's what they're really doing, though. They're exploiting your cognitive shortcuts. Your brain uses credentials, confidence, and social proof to quickly assess who to trust. Gurus hijack those shortcuts. They give you all the signals of authority without any of the substance. Look at how they present their credentials. I've helped thousands of people transform their lives. That's not a credential, that's a marketing claim. I've generated millions in revenue. For who? Themselves? Their students? It's deliberately vague. I've been featured in this publication or on this channel, on this platform. Meanwhile, their access to that platform may have been purchased. Scott Galloway. But they frame it like mainstream validation. The manipulation tactic here isn't that they're confident. It's that they've weaponized confidence to bypass your critical thinking. They know that if they sound certain enough, if they look successful enough, if they reference smart sounding concepts enough, you'll stop asking, but are you actually qualified to teach this? And here's an uncomfortable truth. This works on all of us. We want to believe that there are people who have it all figured out. We all want shortcuts to success, health, happiness, meaning. Gurus offer us certainty in an uncertain world. The reason why the illusion of authority is so seductive is because the alternative, the fact that nobody has all the answers, is so uncomfortable. Tactic number 2, manufactured scarcity. This is where the gurus create artificial urgency in order to override your rational decision-making. They make you feel like if you don't act now, you'll miss your one chance at transformation. This offer closes in 24 hours. I'm only taking 10 more clients. This price will never be this low again. Spots are filling up fast. Every single one of these statements is designed to trigger your fear of missing out and make you buy before you have a chance to think. Gurus do this often with course launches. They create this elaborate scarcity theater, countdown timers, carts closing emails, screenshots of sold out messages. They're not really selling you a course. They're selling you access to a limited opportunity that will disappear forever if you don't act now. It just plays on everyone's sense of FOMO, fear of missing out. In reality, the course will launch again in 3 months, and those limited spots will magically open up if enough people don't buy. That one-time offer will be offered again and again. The scarcity might be fake, but your fear of missing out is very real, and that's what they're exploiting. The hustle guy, rise and grind crypto bros do this with time-based pressure. The market window is closing. Your competition is already doing this. Every day you wait, that's money you're losing. They're not giving you information, they're giving you anxiety. And anxiety makes you act impulsively. The stakes are always existential. The timeline is always immediate. The message is always, you must commit right now or it's too late. Here's what I want you to understand about scarcity tactics. Legitimate opportunities don't require manufactured urgency. If something is genuinely valuable, it'll still be valuable next week. If a person is genuinely confident in what they're offering, they don't need to pressure you into buying it before you've had time to do some research or reflect or get a second opinion. Real scarcity sounds like, I'm taking on 3 new coaching clients this quarter because that's all I have capacity for. Whereas fake scarcity looks like, only 3 spots left, followed by, last chance, I opened up 5 more spots. How convenient. And that's followed by final deadline extended. The manipulation tactic here is creating a false sense of urgency that bypasses your ability to make a thoughtful decision. They know that if you have too much time to think, you might realize that you don't actually need what they're selling. So they engineer a situation where thinking feels like losing. And this is effective because human beings are wired to respond to scarcity. In our distant past, many resources actually were scarce. Things like food. If you didn't have access to food immediately, you might actually starve. So gurus will exploit that lizard brain impulse that we all have to sell you things that you don't really need. Tactic number 3, false unity. The third manipulation tactic I'm going to talk about is false unity. And this is where parasocial relationships can get tricky and sometimes even dangerous. Gurus create the illusion that you're part of a community, a movement, a family, when what they're actually creating is a fan base that serves their interests, not yours. Here's how they do it. They'll use we language consistently. We're building this together. We don't accept mediocrity. We know the truth that they don't want you to hear. This creates the feeling that you're part of something, an inner circle, a tribe, or even a revolution. Side note, I noticed that when I use certain AI programs to brainstorm concepts for content or to edit content, it always spits back the language we. I think it does that because it understands that creating this false unity might drive engagement. And I always change the we to I. Why? Because I'm doing this labor. I'm creating the content you are watching now. I write it, I edit it, I present it. Because there's no we up in here. Someday there will be a we. When my company grows and I'm able to hire employees and expand the operation, there might be we. But for now, no we, just me. The rise and grind hustle bros are really good with this. They do this with masculine tribal energy. They call you brother, or they talk about the brotherhood, or the pack, or the family. They create insider language, special terms, inside jokes. It's community theater designed to fill the void that a lot of men feel around friendship and belonging. These guys really know their audience and exactly how to exploit them. A lot of wellness gurus do this with feminine collective energy. We're all on this healing journey together. This is a safe space for women supporting women. We're reclaiming our power as a sisterhood. It feels like solidarity, and sometimes it actually is, but it can also be a marketing strategy that keeps you engaged and spending money. No, ma'am, we're not on a journey together. We're actually all on separate healing journeys. We just happen to be in the same Facebook group. The right-wing political prophets are really good at this too. They do this with the us versus them dynamic. We see through the lies. We're the ones brave enough to speak the truth. They want to silence us, but we won't be quiet. In these groups, the community's identity is built on opposition. You're united not by what you're for, not by what you believe in, but what you're against, what you oppose. what you hate. The manipulation is that this isn't a real community. Real community is reciprocal. You give support and you receive support. You know people's names. You have relationships that exist outside of one person's content or stand store. What gurus create is a one-way relationship where thousands of people feel connected to one person who doesn't know any of them exist. Except, of course, when they review their transactions on Stripe at the end of every month. You're not in community with each other. You're in community with a parasocial relationship. And the guru is at the center, benefiting from all of that emotional energy and financial investment. The false unity serves several purposes. It keeps you engaged because leaving feels like you're abandoning people. It makes you defensive when anyone criticizes the guru because you take it as an attack on your community. So you take it personally. And it isolates you from outside perspectives because anyone who questions the guru gets framed as an outsider, a hater, or someone who just doesn't get it. Watch what happens when someone in the community starts asking questions. The guru himself doesn't have to respond. The community polices itself. Other followers will quickly jump in to defend, explain, and to pressure the questioner back into line. If you don't believe in this, why are you even here? This community isn't for everyone. Maybe you're just not ready for this level of growth. I experienced this personally once. I used to follow one of those male creators who was all about minimalism. It was actually two guys. I can't remember their names. It doesn't matter. They were telling their followers at one point that credit scores don't matter and that you shouldn't care if your credit score falls to 0. I commented on X back when it was still Twitter, saying that that wasn't very good advice because here in America, where these influencers were based and where their audience was primarily based, your credit score is very important here. Most people have to take out loans to buy cars, homes, utility companies often do credit checks. A credit check is run when you apply to rent an apartment, so you do have to keep your eye on your credit score. You have to make sure it doesn't fall too low. So I explained this in a very non-accusatory, very just, oh, FYI, it is kind of important because I was very kind. I wasn't aggressive with it at all. These guys' followers flooded my mentions with vitriol. One of them even found my LinkedIn and called me at my office. Finally, the creator himself chimed in and just said, ignore her, she's just a hater, or something like that. Some of these creators have so much influence that they don't even need to attack you themselves when you question the dogma. They have an army of sycophants to attack you on their behalf. Here's a reality check. When a community requires you to never question the leader, that's not a community. It's more like a cult. When belonging requires you to defend someone you've never met against any criticism, that's not unity, that's manipulation. Healthy communities encourage diverse perspectives. They welcome questions. They don't require blind loyalty to a central figure. False unity does the opposite. It creates the appearance of togetherness while actually isolating you into an echo chamber that serves the guru's brand. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one creator that you follow regularly. Someone whose content you consume weekly, someone you may feel connected to. Watch their next 3 pieces of content over the next few days and ask yourself, 1, are they performing authority or do they actually have relevant expertise? Second question, are they creating artificial urgency to pressure you into action? Third question, are they building real community or are they just manufacturing the feeling of unity in order to serve their brand? If you answered yes to even one of those questions, you might be experiencing manipulation tactics that are designed to keep you engaged, loyal, and spending. And look, this doesn't mean you have to unfollow everyone, but it does mean that you need to be able to see these tactics for what they are. You need to ask yourself, is this person actually helping me grow, or are they just really good at making me feel like they are? The goal is not to become cynical about everyone online. It's to become discerning. Because the antidote to guru manipulation isn't rejecting all guidance. It's choosing voices who don't need to manipulate you in order to provide value. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments, which of these manipulation tactics have you experienced? I've definitely fallen for all 3 of them at some point in time in my life, especially when I was involved in wellness and weight loss spaces. This stuff is rampant over there. And honestly, there's no shame in it. These tactics work because they're actually quite sophisticated, and they exploit real human needs for authority, urgency, and belonging. See you next time.